Hey y'all, welcome back. I'm Morgan, and today I just want to talk a bit about some anticipated releases for this upcoming quarter, mostly, even though we're already in this upcoming quarter, but these are the ones that I am so excited about. And let's get to it. First up are actually two honorable mentions, because one I thought was coming out in April, but it really didn't. And that would be the Kaiju Preservation Society by John Scalzi that came out March 15th. This one is a sci-fi slash somewhat alternate history. It follows our main character, Jamie, who is unfortunately a food delivery person in the time of COVID. He was very unhappy with his job because he went from his dream job to being a food delivery person during COVID in New York. He runs into an old acquaintance though on one of these deliveries and is told about this wildlife preservation group and is kind of recruited into helping them do some grunt work one day when they are short-staffed. This leads him to finding out something awesome though, that they aren't doing a preserve thing for like any animal here on Earth, at least not our Earth, but an alternate dimension Earth where there are no people, but there are giant dinosaur-like creatures. Of course though, this preservation society are not the only ones that have found their way there, and the bad people are the group that are also there and somehow doing something that is threatening both our world and the alternate world with the kaiju's dinosaurs. And I'm so excited to dive into this one. I can't wait to get my hands on it. The next book that was the one I thought was coming out in April, and I blame that on the fact that I found out, it was coming in our April Unplugged book box, but it really came out there at the end of March. On the 22nd, The City of Dusk by Tara Sim came out, and its cover is gorgeous, and it just makes me want to find out more about it because it looks so intriguing. And the synopsis is that in the four lands of life, death, light, and dark, make sure I said those right. The four realms, not lands, but they are kind of lands. Yes. Life, death, light, and darkness all converge on the city of Dusk. For each there is a god, and for each god there is an heir. But the gods have withdrawn their favor from the land, and now things are starting to be destroyed and go haywire. And the heirs, though, don't want to see everything destroyed, so they are putting everything on the line to help save the city and the realms. And they're putting a lot of stuff at great risk, possibly more than they even know. And that will be coming in soon, and I'm so excited. Then, for this month, April, I actually only have one release, and it is kind of an honorable mention as well, because I still haven't read the first one in the series, but I am so excited. I believe in myself and in the description of the book that I am going to like it. The Hunger of the Gods by John Gwain is coming out on April 15th, and I really want to get into this series. It sounds so awesome because it is a Norse-inspired type land with myths and magic and going on a warrior's quest with this group. They're going to, go up against the gods and everything and save or destroy the land. I can't say much about it because it's a sequel, but that one's coming out this month, and maybe somehow I'll be able to get to read both of them. Not this month, probably not, unless we just throw all the other plans to the wind and be like, gonna do it now. Maybe, no, probably not. I don't tend to read the large ones back to back like that. I have to have some space to absorb. However, May is the really big month this quarter. We have 4 books on this list that are coming out in May. 3 of them all come out on May the 3rd. The first of which is an author that I really love reading, and that would be Holly Black, and it's her first foray into adult fantasy, and that is going to be The Book of Night. In this one, we follow Charlie. Yes, I have two books that the main character is Charlie. In this one, we follow Charlie Hall, who has never found a lock she couldn't pick, or a book she couldn't steal, or a bad decision that she wouldn't make. In this one, though, she spent her whole life working for the Golemists, which are magicians who manipulate the shadows, and they have kind of formed this secret underworld full of shady things based off, all the magic grimoires and stuff that they have stolen or killed for, and they run this underworld. But she's now tried to get away from this, but due to circumstances surrounding her little sister and her shadowless boyfriend, it simply says shadowless. I'm not sure what that means. I don't know if that's going to relate to like one of her other type series that I know she's done. We'll find out. But she's being pulled back into this world and set up against maniacal billionaires and the Golemists and even the people she loves. So she's trying to like kind of save them, but to get this power that they're all after. And yeah, I can't wait to read it because it's Holly Black and I've loved her books. Our other author that we have read before, also coming out the same day, is Bridget Kimmerer, and we are returning to the realm of the Curse Breakers. In this one, which is called Forging Silver into Stars, awesome title, and a very beautiful cover. We are returning to that realm, but not to the characters that we have met before, which I'm a little glad about because of how the way book 3 went and how she changed their personalities. Didn't work, didn't like it. But the way the third book ended, it kind of led on that we were going to return to the world, because it's like, that wasn't an ending. That was not an ending to a series. There was 2 open. For this book, though, our main characters are Jax and Kaylin, and they are just normal people from Silshallow, if I'm saying the name right. And the magic returning to their land has kind of created this chaos that they are not okay with. It has brought harm to their families, and they hate it. They are against it. They are unhappy that their new king is a mage after all the damage that magic has done to their families. And so, yeah, they're really, really unhappy with all of this. So they're in that small class of people that we met in the other series that, were against him and against the throne being like that. So, if you haven't read the Cursebreaker series, I guess that's kind of not very understandable, but I'm excited to go back to the world and hopefully get some resolutions, get some things more clear, and not have people change again. For our next book in May, it is actually not a fantasy, and that is going to be The Book Lovers by Emily Henry. It is a contemporary romance, I believe, and it just sounds super, super adorable, and that's why it's like, oh yeah, I'm excited about this one, because it is, our main character is like a literary agent, and the other one works in publishing, and they're both kind of like, they're not the heroes of their own lives, they're not that type of person, and they're just thrown together a lot on her sister vacation that her and her sister take. And even though they've already known each other, so it's not a meet cute, they really don't like each other, and they keep getting thrown together, and things are just so, they say that they're just thrown together in a series of coincidences that no editor worth their salt would have let pass on paper, which I thought was hilarious, because it is really a book, and these literary people are comparing their lives to like, that would never make it into a book. It's like, that's funny. So I really want to get to this one because I think it will be an adorable, lighthearted read. And yeah. And our final one for May is one that I'm actually already reading. Thank you, NetGalley. And that is The Stardust Thief by Chelsea Abdullah. This one is the one that is inspired around the tales of the 1001 Nights and Arabian Nights tales. And It has been interesting, I will say that. From its description, I will go ahead and read it, even though it's not what it seems. Neither here nor there, but long ago, Luli al-Nazara is a midnight merchant, a criminal who, with the help of her jinn bodyguard, hunts and sells illegal magic. And when she saves the life of a cowardly prince, she draws the attention of his powerful father, the Sultan, who blackmails her into finding an ancient lamp that has the power to revive the barren land, at the cost of sacrificing all jinn. But with no choice to obey or be executed, Luli journeys with the Sultan's oldest son to find the artifact. Aided by her bodyguard, who has secrets of his own, they must survive several types of attacks, and confront a malicious killer from Luli's past. In a world where story is reality and illusion is truth, Luli will discover that everything is not what it seems. So, it does sound super intriguing from that. I'll give it that. Reading it, while those details are in the book, they are not what they appear, that is for sure. Like, it's rude. It calls him a cowardly prince. And he's not. He is just naive and super sheltered. He does call himself a coward, but like in the moment that the thing happened, it didn't, there was nothing he could have done about that. Legitly nothing. The thing about, she saves him and that gets her under his father's attention. No, his father was already like looking for the midnight merchant to find his super special rare jinn relic. That is the lamp. That is the lamp. And I can't wait to keep reading, and I'll update you guys in my review of the book, probably coming up soon. Our final month of this quarter is June, and it has 2 authors that I've read before and one that I have not seen. And I'm very intrigued by the book for sure. First up would be Games for Dead Girls by Jen Williams, who is the author of the Winnowing Flame trilogy. The only details I've really been able to find on this book is on Goodreads for some reason, and right now its expected release date is June 7th. Though from the reading of the description and the fact that it's like fairy tale suspense-ish, it could be more of a fall, Halloween-y type read from the vibes that you get from it. So here's the other book that I said we have another Charlie main character. When Charlie was 11, she created a monster. In the seaside town of Hithchurch, England, 11-year-old Charlotte meets Emily, a clever, secretive girl her own age with a dark family history. Come on, we can read. In an attempt to get rid of Emily's abusive father, Charlie and Emily perform a ritual to try and summon the spirit of Hithchurch girl of urban legend named Stitch-Faced Sue by Charlie, who is killed by pirates and supposedly haunts the town for revenge. Now, when it seems that these rituals are working, Emily becomes really, really obsessed with Stitch-Faced Sue, and she ends up roping another little girl into their game. And something happens, and somehow this other little girl ends up dead. And Charlotte and Emily are caught trying to hide the body. Not the brightest 11-year-olds. And somehow their parents send them both off to institutions. Now we go to grown-up them, and Emily has published a book detailing the events of what happened back then and pretty much blaming it all on Charlie. And Charlie is currently investigating urban legends around his church and the surrounding area, and also trying to find proof of what happened and like showing, this wasn't her fault, this was that. While at the same time, other girls from his church are now disappearing, and Charlie is investigating into that and the very dark past that she's uncovering about the town and the legends. And see, it sounds very dark and suspenseful and like perfect more for fall, but we will see. It's also going to depend on when the book comes out and how hard it is to get a hold of, since she is a European author, and her Winnowing Flame trilogy I had to order from Book Depository to be able to get those, because could not find them anywhere over in the US, which is so sad, and those covers are beautiful. Our other book is another sequel, and that is For the Throne by Hannah Witten, which is also expected to come out on June 7th. In the first book, For the wolf, it also has the tagline, "The first daughter is for the throne and the second daughter is for the wolf." In the first book, we followed Red mostly because she was the second daughter who was being sacrificed to the wolf. But we were also given the perspective of her older sister Neve as she was back in the castle and having to deal with Red's loss as she saw it. And it was very touching to be able to see both sisters' perspective and how the decisions were affecting both of their lives without sometimes them even knowing it. And I just loved how it would jump back and forth to that. That was incredible. But for this second book, it looks like it will be reversed, and we will maybe see more through Neve's eyes and have Red as the second perspective. Well, if she still does that. I kind of hope she does. I still would like to be able to see from both sisters' perspectives because I think it just gave it such a unique touch on the already very unique retelling of Red Riding Hood and Beauty and the Beast and this completely great fantastical land that she created there. I really like that story. And then we have another fantasy book that is coming out on June 7th, which is In the Shadow of Lightning by Brian McClellan. And its tagline is "When Magic Ends, Empires Shatter." Which, yep, sounds awesome. And on the cover, you see it has the broken glass. So it's like, that looks cool. In our description, our main character is Demir Grappo, who is an outcast, self-proclaimed because he abandoned his responsibilities as a general, a governor, and a son. And now he wants to live out his days rootless and as a grifter alone. But when his mother is brutally murdered, Demir must return from exile to claim his seat at the head of the family and uncover the truth that got her killed. The very power that keeps civilization turning, God Glass, is running out. So now back home, he has to seek allies and find out what is happening to this thing that makes their civilization run. And I thought this was super unique because me myself has not read that many where magic is dying in places. Like, that's just not been one of the things I've read much. Granted, there probably are books out there where magic has always been part of civilization, but it was running out. But in this one, it was just, the civilization is literally built around the magic. And so imagine our society with our electronics. If they went away, a lot of people in today's society would not know how to react. A lot. So that's kind of like what it is sounding like for them in magic. And it just sounds unique and gritty. And I'm there for it. I really was hoping to get like an advanced copy, but didn't. That's probably for the best because I already have so many books to read. So many books to read. So I will just wait till June and try to get my hands on it around then. Well guys, these have been some of the releases that I am most excited about and can't wait to dive into some of them. And yeah, obviously just so excited about them. I'm going to try to do these quarterly anticipated releases to keep you guys up to date on the newest books coming out by authors we love, our new unique sounding voices that are out there. If there are though some genres that you would like to hear more about, I can research into other genres because I know this one was very fantasy heavy because that's my jam. But you guys want to talk about other kinds of books and genres, let me know in the comments down below and I will definitely research into those too. And I will see you guys later. I hope you're having a wonderful rest of your day. Bye guys.